First, though, it's the story dominating many of the papers. Christmas could look very different this year, with one cabinet minister warning big celebrations might not be possible. There's a lot of anxiety around Christmas, I think, this year. How do you feel about it, Saira? Would you be happy to cancel it in that it's not the Christmas that you would normally have done? How do you feel about it all?
Well, my attitude is this. You never cancel Christmas. I mean, never. You can adapt it, but Christmas in my household starts on the 1st of December and goes all the way until the end of the holidays. And it's a moment where, you know, we all get together and celebrate just, you know, what we have, and friends and family, and yes, of course, we can't have a lot of friends and family, but it doesn't mean Christmas is cancelled. And I think the idea of it, and to put the fear into people's minds right now, is cruel. I think it's about saying we can adapt, but you still celebrate, and the spirit of Christmas has to live on, and that's what I'm clinging on to.
But I suppose some would argue that you can do that in your house because you're in your bubble.
Yeah.
But if people live alone or they have elderly parents that don't live with them, if the restrictions do get tighter, they're not going to be able to have them around to the house.
I agree.
You know, so in some homes it is going to be problematic. I mean, it's 8 weeks tomorrow, Christmas.
Yeah.
So, you know, as you just said there, George Eustace, the Environment Secretary, has said, look, you know, we might have to tighten restrictions, despite Boris Johnson saying he was going to do his absolute best to try and keep things normal. But, of course, if you think about Christmas, it's multi-generational. People have to travel between homes.
It's complicated, isn't it?
You know, and you've got the scientists on one side sort of saying, well, look, you know, there could be, in the second wave, the peak could be more prolonged this time than it was earlier in the year. It could be 85,000 deaths. But then you've got the other side saying, yes, but these are just projections. That's worst case scenario, and we have to find a way to balance our life. You know, particularly business leaders are saying that we've got unemployment rising, suicide rates are going through the roof, you know, businesses are closing down.
Mental health.
Economic carnage. For Boris Johnson, in the middle of all of that, I think it's a really tough call. You know, do you want to be the Prime Minister that steals Christmas, if you like? But lockdown in some of the areas, Liverpool is showing that in the last 10 days there has been a drop. You know, Liverpool's in a tight lockdown. So it is working in some areas. And I think what they're doing at the minute is just saying to the rest of us, look, what you do now, you can save Christmas, but we have to bring that R rate down.
Yeah. Kelle, how do you feel about Christmas? And, you know, you've got your children and family and things. Are you able to adapt it?
Yeah, well, I am that Liverpool person, so it is really good news that it is coming down and becoming under control. But for me, Christmas is, you know, really based around our church and all the activities that happen. It's like the biggest day on the Christian calendar, Christmas. So it's going to be really different. But for me, I'm definitely not cancelling it. We'll be definitely embracing it in whichever shape or form we're able to do. We'll be doing it wholeheartedly. But yeah, it's definitely going to change in terms of faith-based communities, because it's all going to be online, and that's going to be a very different experience for everyone this year.
It is very. I'm like one of these many families that my family are all over the place, and Christmas for me, it's not even just about the celebration, it's about having all of my family under the one roof, which never really happens that often. And my parents are in Northern Ireland, my sister's there with her husband, they're in this circuit breaker currently. Who knows what's going to happen between now and then? I'm just desperately thinking, but then if I bring them over, and including my 2-year-old in it, we're then 7.
Yeah.
So then, just because of that, you think, oh, how do we manage this? I know this is a discussion I'm sure that's happening all over the country right now, but for the sake of that one day, and I know people say, well, it is only one day, but it's actually an important day for me, because I love us all being together and just eating and talking, and maybe not talking about the pandemic and having a bit of enjoyment in our lives for one day.
Well, one little bit of good news right at the end. They are saying today, there's a lot of things, that there could be a vaccine within weeks. It might not, you know, be by Christmas, but we've ordered about 20 million doses already, and we've got another 40 on order. So.
Yeah, it could be a start.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, exactly.